A single breach compromised 560 million Ticketmaster accounts. The threat actor, a financially motivated cybercrime group known as Shiny Hunters, claimed responsibility. They do not deploy ransomware or wipe systems to extort victims. They operate on a simple model. They steal raw data and sell it to the highest bidder on the dark web. The dataset they acquired included full names, physical addresses, email addresses, and phone numbers, alongside order details and partial payment card data. While a name and the last 4 digits of a credit card cannot immediately clone a physical card, that specific combination of data is highly effective for launching targeted phishing campaigns and executing long-term identity fraud. Live Nation's internal security team first detected unauthorized activity on May 20, 2024. Just 7 days later, Shiny Hunters publicly listed the 1.3 terabytes of stolen data on a dark web forum, with a price tag of $500,000. By May 31st, Live Nation was forced to officially disclose the incident in a formal filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Despite the massive loss of customer data, Ticketmaster's core internal servers were never compromised. This was a supply chain attack. The intrusion happened entirely within a third-party cloud service utilized by the company. That third-party platform was Snowflake, a major cloud data provider. The attackers gained entry using a set of legitimate user credentials. These usernames and passwords had been siphoned off a machine infected by InfoStealer malware years earlier, quietly sitting in a database until they were tested. This diagram maps the initial access point. In the MITRE ATT&CK framework, this aligns with technique T1078, valid accounts. Stolen credentials from the infected machine granted immediate entry because the account lacked a secondary authentication requirement, or MFA. Once inside with valid credentials, the attackers moved to discovery, technique T1526. They mapped the cloud environment, checking permissions and identifying where the valuable data was stored. After locating the customer information tables, they executed technique T1213.003, running sustained queries to collect the targeted records. Finally, they exfiltrated 1.3 terabytes of data. This massive volume of information was packaged and pushed out slowly over an encrypted channel to an anonymous cloud storage bucket controlled by the attackers. The attackers did not exploit a zero-day vulnerability or break a firewall. They used stolen credentials to enter through a legitimate gateway. Now, we switch perspectives to see how a security team responds. The theft is complete and the alarms are sounding. You are the lead of the Security Operations Center. Your blue team has 3 objectives: understand the intrusion, contain the damage, and expel the attackers completely. At 2:17 a.m., your Security Information and Event Management System flags an anomalous beta egress event. Simultaneously, it triggers an impossible travel alert. An account registers a login attempt from Eastern Europe at the exact same moment the legitimate user badges into an office in Los Angeles. Your analysts begin triage. They validate the alert by cross-referencing the foreign cloud login against the user's local VPN logs and physical badge swipes. The local data proves the user is in California. The foreign login is malicious. The compromise is confirmed. You immediately scope the blast radius. You pivot off the attacker's source IP to search all authentication logs for additional compromised accounts. You pull the cloud platform's audit logs, hunting for specific SQL queries tied to the breached account to determine exactly which database tables the attacker touched. Timeline reconstruction reveals the first foreign login occurred 21 days ago. The attackers have been inside for 3 weeks. With a dwell time that high, your objective shifts immediately from prevention to aggressive damage control. We are entering Phase 3, containment. Pause the video here and write down the exact technical steps you would take right now to sever an active attacker's access. This flowchart breaks down the standard break glass procedure. Step 1, you immediately disable the compromised account. Step 2, you forcibly revoke all active sessions tied to that user IT, terminating the attacker's current connection. Step 3, you execute a forcible credential rotation, replacing the stolen password with a complex random value. Step 4, you add the attacker's source IP address to a global perimeter block list to prevent further inbound connection attempts. Because the compromised account belongs to a third-party vendor, you must make a critical business decision on whether to suspend that vendor's access entirely. Before executing any cleanup, your forensics team pulls snapshots of virtual machines and immutable log backups to preserve evidence of the crime. Investigation and containment cannot happen sequentially. These phases run in parallel. You cut the attacker's access to stop the bleeding, while analysts are still gathering the facts. With the immediate threat contained, you move to Phase 4, eradication. Your team conducts a comprehensive sweep of the environment to locate any persistence mechanisms. You are hunting for new unauthorized accounts or backdoors created during the attacker's 21-day dwell time. You launch an enterprise-wide credential rotation initiative. Operating on the assumption that additional accounts may have been exposed, all passwords and access keys for privileged accounts are forcibly reset. This network diagram shows the immediate hardening of the environment. You execute an emergency rollout of mandatory, phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication. Every single account with access to sensitive data is shielded by a secondary authentication layer. Parallel to the technical rebuild, non-technical recovery begins. Your legal and communications teams use the data identified during the investigation phase to draft compliant breach notifications, and you scale up customer support centers to handle the incoming volume. Eradication involves closing the structural vulnerabilities identified during the investigation. Hardening the architecture and policies ensures the intruders cannot return through the pathways they previously exploited. Phase 5 is post-incident improvements. A breach of this scale produces specific, actionable intelligence that you use to build a stronger long-term security posture. This checklist outlines our strategic lessons. First, enforce MFA everywhere. Second, mandate that third-party vendors meet your security standards. Third, invest in advanced anomaly detection. Fourth, enforce least privilege, ensuring users access only what they need. Fifth, run regular cyber war simulations. The Live Nation incident demonstrates the critical risk of single-factor authentication. A single set of stolen credentials provided full access because the account lacked a secondary verification requirement. Attackers only need to find one weak link. Defending against them requires absolute discipline in security fundamentals. Let me know your single biggest takeaway from this simulation in the comments below.